Hi, how you guys doing? Chan Trades, otherwise known as Luke, coming back to you with another trade recap. Today, I lost $91 trading ES futures. Let's just recap what I did real quick. So, how I found my bias for the day. One, we had ES came and took out all-time highs. NQ didn't. We kind of barely edged them. Pause. But we did form a SMT, and it's a bearish SMT. All a SMT is essentially like a difference in price, and if NQ or ES does something, it's as good as done on the other index. Kind of, that's kind of short and sweet. But since ES came up here and took out these all-time highs, NQ essentially already did that. It doesn't have to essentially take out the highs to make the move. But just taking a peek at kind of also how I found my bias for the day, my daily profile, which is essentially what I think price is going to do. So with price action, you need manipulation. At least that's how I move. I move with liquidity sweeps. If I can talk, English is hard. I move with essentially highs or lows getting taken out, right, and those orders being filled, and price moving in a different direction because of those orders being filled. So this morning, I was really kind of shooting to go down because we had consolidation in London session. There wasn't any manipulation. I can't talk. I can't pronounce manipulation. Holy shit. It's okay. It's been a long day. It hasn't been a long day. I hate when people say that excuse, but I say it all the time. So I need to be better about that. Anyways, there was manipulation of London session highs and this all-time high on ES, essentially just filling orders. So orders got filled. Then we had the SMT, so it's perfect. Kind of coming into market open. We'll go on the 1 minute because I executed on the 1 minute. Or we'll say on the 5 minute to start because I used some 5 minute stuff. So essentially, price action comes up here, takes out this all-time high, forms the SMT with our high impact news candle. This is core PPI that was today. So high impact news, right? And we kind of just consolidate right here. We don't do much. We do form this fair value gap that during market open, right before, it was the candle before market open, but technically at market open, the candle closed. But it disrespected this fair value gap right here. Essentially, to me, all that means is order flow is changing. It's starting to go in the direction that I thought it would go, which is bearish. My bias is bearish for the day. And Q at the same time it did disrespect this one right here, but we don't. You can look at that candle or at this fair value gap right here and say that it did get disrespected, which it did, but I tend to use either, like, I tend to use the lowest formed fair value gap because that is the one, that is the last one where all the other ones can get disrespected, but if that one does, price action fully changes. If that makes sense. That was a little complicated the way that I said it and explained it. But I use this fair value gap on ES, and in turn I use this one on NQ. So we didn't exactly disrespect price right there. But once we did, especially in both indexes, I was looking for a trade. It was really early. I didn't want to take a trade this early, but my setup presented it itself. We had this breaker block right here. We had a fair value gap that was formed. Equilibrium was right here, but I didn't really use it on this trade because it was more the push up and all this stuff. This is BPR, by the way, as well, which fancy terms for it's like a fancy term for a very high impact zone where orders will most likely get filled. You'll see some sort of push reaction, whatever you want to call it, out of it. So just hopping into the 1 minute, let me just kind of explain what I did. So we pushed up into this whole area of all my confluences, and we started to come down. We inversed a mini fair value gap right here, but I didn't really like it being inversed right here. It wasn't as solid as I would have liked, especially considering the price action over on NQ. So I waited for a break of structure, or Fibonacci, which was going to be off of this candle right here, and I can mark it real quick. So this was the low that I was looking at to get broken. Instead, the 5-minute is where I executed off of. I know I originally said the 1 minute was, but it was really the 5-minute. So within all that weird stuff that I was just showing you guys, this black candle comes into the zone and pushes out of it. It basically goes into all of our stuff up here, right, and pushes out. And why I didn't use this one, right, like this one is in the breaker block, but this candle pushes into the fair value gap, equilibrium, all this stuff. So this is the candle that I executed off of. So after this 5-minute candle closed, I entered. I kind of just had my stop. It wasn't like the best protected stop. I kind of just put it right at the bottom of the breaker block, equilibrium, which was fine. So I get entered in. Price kind of starts to move and then starts to come back up, and then I exit really off of two things. The first thing, there's a high right here. It doesn't get like broken, like there's no break of structure, but there was Fibonacci. Essentially, we're looking at the low right here. So what Fibonacci tells me, all these extension points, so there's halfway equilibrium, 79%, 21%, 0, and 1, right? If price pushes into these lines right here, so 79%, 21%, it's as good of a break of structure since price has pushed up so far. So I actually exited off of price disrespecting Fibonacci. And the biggest reason why I exited too was this giant SMT that got formed. So on NQ, at the same time that I entered, NQ came down, took out all this stuff down here, right? This is data highs, and then there's some low resistance, relative equal lows down here, right? So low liquidity, but still something that price does want to draw to. And I'll kind of explain that on the 5-minute real quick. Not the 10-minute. The 5-minute. We can go to it. Okay. So it's really like this low right here. And then I guess did not place that line well. Close enough. So it was really just kind of like right here. So there's all these lows right here, and they're very close together, and they're 5-minute. This one's a little bit too far away, but these ones are grouped really close together. It's a lot easier for price to come and sweep out these lows than it is for price to go and not really do anything, like just kind of go in like the middle of like an imbalance, or even go down to like these lows down here. It's a lot easier for price just to come down and grab some very easy orders like that. So that's kind of where I was basing my ES trade off of. I know I have it all the way down here at London and Asian session for my take profit, but that's kind of where I was wanting to most likely exit this trade, especially knowing that ES was about to make was about to basically form a I guess it would be a 5-minute SMT. Anyway, so we got that. I exited, and price kind of just did whatever. We manipulated these highs, which makes sense for this SMT to get filled. Probably have to have some like 5-minute highs get manipulated first, which would have been this high right here, or maybe even down here, but came manipulated, and then from there we flood the face to the downside. It makes sense. I'm not like upset about the way that I traded today. I'm upset about the way that I can't pronounce stuff like manipulate or like that. But I think I should have taken this trade on NQ just because I would have been able to see it through to the end. Price action was the same, but the actual setup presented itself on NQ. And why that is, without going like way too deep into this, so there's the leading index and the lagging index for SMTs. NQ was the was the leading index because it formed a lower low first. And typically, you're supposed to take trades on the lagging index because you can kind of predict what the other index is going to do based off, again, what I was saying. But recently, what I've been doing is been taking trades on the leading index because you get a better risk to reward. You also typically get better price action, at least on the short term, because like price action is almost the same. Again, it's just this SMT, and it's just this high right here that gets taken out. That's the only difference, right? So SMT down here. So like it's super similar structure though. So I should have taken, if I was going to catch this move down, I should have taken it on NQ. The only thing is, it's just, it was so early in the morning that really like what I would have preferred to do would have taken like some sort of like 1 minute entry, only because we pushed down so low. There's not really like any good ways to enter it. What I kind of figured out was like this weird 1 minute thing. I don't even know if I'd do that, so it's kind of stupid that I don't know, try to find that. I guess what I could have done too, I could have waited for this bearish for value gap to get filled. And coincidentally, equilibrium's got to be in here. No. JK. Forget what I just said. Equilibrium's down here. But, could have came up here, could have got filled. Probably would have got stopped out because I'm not going to have my stop loss all the way at the top of this. But probably would have got filled on something like this, right? Would have got stopped out. But I guess like this would have been like the ultimate setup for the day on NQ. And ES, for the move that I was actually trying to do, it actually did happen, right? So I could have done a 1 minute move off of this, depending on, let's see how choppy price action was. All right. I think what I could have done, so we get a break right here. We come back into, I don't know. Don't really come back into much of anything. I probably would have entered, I don't know if I would have entered off this, because this is a big, it's a big candle. And we don't break structure, but we get really close on fib. So I don't know, but that would have been like the 1 minute entry, which would have worked. It would have played out. Again, price action, a little choppy. There's just a lot going on today. A lot of high impact news, all that fun stuff. So yeah, like there's not really, this trade wasn't bad at all, at least for what I think. How I did. I definitely could have had a better entry, better setup. Always striving to do that. I'm glad I also didn't trade twice because I was looking for a second trade, but I forced myself to stop. I'm trying to just take one trade a day, trying to find the best possible trade, and go with that. So that's helping me be a better trader too. So I'm not over risking, over leveraging, over trading, all those fun things. So yeah, I'll see you guys later this week or next week. Probably not this week because we got CPI tomorrow and inflation news Friday. So just gonna be a rough week of price action. But yeah, that's it, guys. Well, have a good day. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.